Hi, I'm Tiffany with The Sit Show, and today I want to talk about puppy supplies or dog supplies. When we get a puppy, there are certain things that we need for them or want for them, and we all have our preferences. So today what I want to talk about is some products that I've used over the years and things that I like to have on hand when I'm bringing my puppy home to keep him busy and keep him in optimal health, as well as keep him safe. Stay to the end, because we are gonna be talking about toys, one of the most exciting things to get for our puppies and play with our puppies. And there is a difference between toys and chew toys. So keep watching. So I'm gonna stick Prince in his kennel. The kennels that I really like are Roughlin crates. They're safe, especially in the vehicle. They are safe at home. I'm not a huge fan of a wire crate just because of the possibility of a dog getting its collar or even a paw or a tooth caught on the bars. If it works for your dog, that's great. But overall safety, because of the number of puppies and dogs that I deal with, Roughlin is my go-to. So I'm gonna stick Prince in his kennel. Come here, sweetie. Kennel. Another thing that I am always going to have on me, not just when my dog is a puppy, but through life, is poop bags. Wherever you go, have a poop bag on you. As responsible dog owners, we need to pick up after our dogs. So poop bags are in my truck, they are in my jacket pockets, they are in my kennel bags, they are everywhere I go. Carry some nice poop bags. And I know some of you might even just use leftover grocery bags, and that's absolutely fine too with those leftover Target bags that you're gonna get. Once in a great while, your dog is going to have some digestive upset, and so I keep a product such as this one. This is from the Honest Kitchen. It's a herbal digestive supplement. If there is diarrhea or runny stool, I always have this on hand, and you'll thank me later for this advice if you just have something like this on hand, because it's no fun to have to go out and grab it on a Saturday evening or a Sunday when you have other plans. Just keep it in the cabinet. It's shelf stable, and it's good to have a product like this in case your dog gets digestive upset. There are a wide variety of supplements available for our dogs, and I love that, but it can be really overwhelming. So this is a super personal choice for you depending on your dog and breed if you're going to supplement, but I would encourage you to look into it. But ones in particular is a probiotic. I think a good probiotic for a dog is excellent, whether you're a raw feeder or a kibble feeder. And then I think for a lot of our breeds, a joint supplement, a quality joint supplement is good. So Super Snouts makes a really good joint powder, and they make a chew as well. That's a good one to have. Another one is a urinary supplement for a dog that was spayed or neutered early, or might have some bladder problems or incontinent issues. I could go on forever about supplements, but I think it's worth looking into if your dog is having a health issue of some sort, because a supplement could be a game changer for that puppy. So watch that as your dog grows and matures. And again, what I might give my dog as a supplement for a period of time, that could change. So be open to looking into new things depending on where that dog is at with their stage in life. So that's supplements. Another one that's really great, kind of circling back to the digestive supplement from Honest Kitchen, is Bernie's Perfect Poop. This has been a really good one for a lot of people with stabilizing their dog's stool. So again, you have a plethora of things to look at, but it's no fun having poop problems. And there's a lot of good things on the market to fix those things. So look into some sort of supplementation to help your dog's digestive tract if possible. You'll go through less poop bags. You'll thank me later. The next thing we want to talk about is dental health. I never thought I would be one of those dog owners that would have to brush their dog's teeth. I've been feeding raw for 25 years. And with my last dog, he does not do extra well on just raw. And so I've introduced some kibble. When that happens, you are going to get more buildup on the dog's teeth. And rather than putting him under for a teeth cleaning, I want to avoid any extra anesthesia that I can. So I think it's important to get our puppies used to teeth cleaning at an early age. Again, multiple products out there, but I am currently using the gel with Brembo, and I like it. It works. But there are other things you can do too. If your puppy is not as comfortable with you touching his mouth, work on it, but until then, the Kong dental balls are an excellent option. You put the gel on the ball and it just takes care of it. I'm gonna come back to teeth cleaning again because there's other things that I use to help keep the dog's teeth cleaner and keep them busy. But a good dental product is something to think about starting early on so the puppy gets used to it. Nail trims. The day you bring that puppy home, you're gonna wanna start to trim their nails. And I'm gonna talk about, you have some options. There's a nail clippers, there's dremeling, and for these little tiny puppies, or even not necessarily a tiny puppy, you can just use a super coarse emery board. You want that puppy to get used to their nails being filed and cut and or dremeled, so do it on a regular basis. So have some sort of supply at home for nail care. Again, it could be a nail file, it could be a cutters, it could be a Dremel, but have something on hand so you're doing it on a regular basis with that dog. Nobody likes a stinky puppy, so we're gonna start grooming the day that we bring that dog home. Depending on the breed type, depending on the coat type, it's going to determine how many products you might have on hand. There's a couple of staples for me. I have short-coated breeds because I know I'm not gonna be good at brushing a dog, but one of my favorite things in the whole wide world is a Spania. They make a waterless shampoo that I can spray on the dog in between baths, so they don't smell doggy or get stinky. Side note, if your dog is extra stinky, it could be diet related, and that can be a whole nother segue, but just something to note. A good shampoo and conditioner is a really nice thing to have on hand. Some of you might just take your dogs to a groomer. So again, the in-betweens are great. And they have so many products now for smelly good stuff, I call it. But I really like, again, a good shampoo, a good waterless in-between for coat. If you have a coated breed, there are detanglers out there. Again, I like a Spania, so a good detangler is good. There are also, for our dogs that get tear staining, there's ear wipes. For ear care, there's ear wipes. Think about what you might need at home for your dog. Savers out there. I don't have a ton of ear cleaning solution at home. I just do a DIY vinegar to water. And it's usually a 4-part water to 1-part vinegar ratio. And then I just use a cotton round to clean the dog's ears. But checking your dog's ears to make sure there's not excess dirt in there is really important for your dog too. So think about all of the grooming things that you might need, but those are just a couple of things that I really like. They make some pre-done wipes for ears, eyes, and the coat too, and those are super helpful and convenient for people, depending on what you're looking for. If you're gonna bring a puppy home, I'm gonna talk about accidents. I am not a lover of a potty pad. This is a personal choice because I do not let any of my puppies, despite the size, go to the bathroom in the house. I use everything outside the house. When Fizz, one of my dogs, was a puppy and it was brutally cold, I did use potty pads. So they have their purpose. And what I did is I put a giant box in my garage, and that's where I put my potty pads. So we were still potty training when it was super cold here in Minnesota, but it wasn't peeing inside my house. So potty pads, if used the right way, can be a super good backup, especially when we have excessive cold in states like Minnesota. Inevitably, if there is an accident, you should have some sort of carpet cleaner or spot stain remover on hand. Scout's Honor is one of the ones that we carry here, which is great. But think ahead again, because if it's Saturday night, the puppy throws up or the puppy has a urine accident, you don't want to have to run out or leave that sit overnight and clean it. Have that stuff on hand. It's super important. Since we live in Minnesota, another chronic problem here is dryness, especially in the winter when it gets so cold. So there are some really good products out there for paws and for noses if your dog's feet get dry or their noses get dry. These balms from Natural Dog Company, they make really good balms. Note to self too with your puppy, if you take your puppy out in an area where they are not using pet safe salt or you're going anywhere, wipe your puppy's feet when you get inside or carry wipes because that salt is really irritating to their paws. So always be aware of paw health in the winter time, anywhere you're going to areas where they may salt. It has been a problem here recently with a little bit of snow, and I can tell as soon as the dog is holding up their feet, it's not necessarily from being cold. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it can be because that salt has hit their pads and now it's sore. So get that salt off of their pads. All of our dogs like a nice squishy dog bed, and these are one of my favorites. These are all over my veterinary office in all of the rooms, and the dogs absolutely love them. So having a bed for your dog to your puppy to just lay on and relax is really good. Just be sure you don't allow them to chew or pull at that, because we're teaching them not to wreck their stuff. Launder your bedding on a regular basis. Get that dander and stuff out of there. I try to do it every week. Sometimes I'm not that great about it, at least every couple of weeks, but you should be washing your dog's bedding on a regular basis. These beds are phenomenal. Leashes and collars, we gotta have them. When I bring my puppies home, they have a well-fit collar right away to get used to it, and a leash, because they're always on leash in the house with me so they don't get in trouble. I am a function over fancy girl. I have some cute collars for my dogs, don't get me wrong, but when I'm in training, I really want equipment that's gonna work and serve its purpose to keep my puppy safe and get us started down the right path on our training journey. So I am a huge fan of a martingale collar, and it just has a chain portion here that slightly tightens, so my puppy is safe and can't pull out of their collar. Oftentimes I'll see puppies with collars that are a little too big, and if they ever get frightened and pull back, they could get loose. And I don't want that to happen. So I want to make sure when a martingale collar is on my puppy, that if they do get scared and they were to pull back, it would tighten just enough so it can't slip over their head. So a martingale collar, huge fan of. For a clip collar, if you do want a clip collar, I just want something that is a sturdy enough clip for that puppy that they are not going to be able to snap the clip if they pull, especially if you have a bigger breed. And again, when the fit is on the dog, I want to make sure that they can't pull out of it if they pull back, if you just go with a standard buckle collar. But the martingale is my absolute favorite. The leashes that I love best are some of my leather leashes. I think there's nothing better in the whole wide world than a leather leash, and I like something that fits in my hand really well. This is a Promos leash, it's a biothane. This product is awesome because it cleans up really well. So when you're getting a puppy, sometimes they might get poop or pee on their leash if it was caught underneath them. These clean up really nice, unlike fabric. I can just take some cleaner and wipe it off. So the biothane leashes are one of my favorite leashes out there. And that's pretty much it for collars and leashes. Find a collar, make sure it fits your puppy well, find a leash that's functional and what works for you. If you have bigger hands, you might want a thicker leash. If you have smaller hands, you might want a thinner leash. And the thickness really doesn't have anything to do with the strength if you get a good product. So this is a really light product line that's biothane, and it's really strong. It's surprisingly strong. It can hold a pretty big dog, but this feels too flimsy in my hands, so I go with the little bit bigger one. There are a ton of bowls to choose from for our puppies. I want to make sure that the bowl is getting cleaned on a regular basis. So my water bowls are cleaned daily, and my food bowls are cleaned daily. One of my favorites is stainless steel. I like stainless steel, and I like the stainless steel with the rubber grip bottom so they're not sliding all over the floor. So make sure when your puppy is eating, it's stable and they can get their food out. Something that's become really popular over the years is a slow feeder bowl. And these things are great for dogs that like to wolf down their food. There's a ton of different varieties, so a slow feeder is great. And another option, if you have a regular bowl and you might want a slow feeder but you have to wait a while, use a cupcake tin. So a muffin pan, and put their food in the muffin pan. It slows them down when they eat, so if you don't have this on hand. You can also do raised feeders. We just got these in. This is super cool. The woman that came up with this idea on a 3D printer is just awesome. This is raised and for short-snouted breeds, so it's a little bit shallower. Again, the insert should be taken out and cleaned, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with using a raised feeder and or water dish for your dog. So again, just make sure you clean it. Puppy toys, way more exciting and fun than grooming products or any of that other stuff. Let's talk about some puppy toys. I believe in rotation. I don't want the puppy to get bored, so I have a few things that I rotate out to keep the puppy interested. The first thing is chew toys. So when the dog is in the crate, I always make sure there's a chew toy. When the dog is out with me, we can have our interactive play toys, but if they start to settle in and want to chew on something, I want to make sure it's the appropriate thing. So if you look at some of the chew toy options, I'm just going to grab a couple off the rack here. This butterfly is adorable, but it is suitable for a super small puppy like a Chihuahua. The rule of thumb is you want to make sure when the puppy is chewing on something that they can't choke on it or get it lodged. So even a puppy the size of Prince, who is a mini golden doodle, and he's probably about 9 to 10 pounds right now, I wouldn't give this to him. It's too small. I want it to be large enough where the puppy is not going to get into trouble with it. This Benebone, however, is about the size of my palm. This is fine for him at about, again, 10 pounds. Then if I look at something like this Soda Ring, I want to make sure if I had a puppy with a really big muzzle, I would be careful of this because I wouldn't want him to get his muzzle stuck in here and his teeth caught or something, right? So when you have a ring thing like this, but for the majority of young puppies, something like this is great, all right? You want things to chew on. So if I put the butterfly back, if I wanted to have rotational things for my puppy, it might be, well, actually, this is great. I love that they do this. This is a puppy pack Benebone, and I'm going to talk about this. This can be great. This is pretty narrow down here. So for a larger breed puppy, you should be fine with this, but always consider the opening and the jaw type of the dog so that nothing would get caught in there. But I like that there's two different shapes in here so that you can switch those out, and then you could do a ring too. So if on Monday the dog has this, maybe on Tuesday, I might give the dog this, and Wednesday as well. And then Thursday, give the dog something else in her kennel. So she's always like, hey, this is great, it's something new, and they don't get sick of chewing on the same thing over and over again. This is my dog's favorite. They make a big fish for big dogs, and puppies love this because there's all these little knobbies, so it's multiple things. The Benebone fishies are the best things in the whole wide world. So again, these are more of our plasticky type chew toys, and they will wear them down. You're gonna see teeth marks, they're gonna wear it down. So when it starts to look like a shiv, throw it away. Until then, it's good. This is the biggest fish that Benebone carries. These are the ones that I said my dog likes. Even though it doesn't say puppy on it, if you have a larger breed puppy, this is a great option. And again, they have all kinds of shapes and flavors. These things are great. They just came out with this one in the last few months, and this one is just like a noodly thing, and it's a tripe flavor. So dogs love these Benebones. It just keeps them busy. So this is another option. Remember, you want it bigger. You want to think about the chew toy being about the size of the dog's head so that there's no issues with potential choking hazards. Another natural product that's great is a water buffalo horn. We carry these. I know a lot of places don't. I like these for my dogs, and I always get the biggest one possible for the dog. If you have a power chewer, but we're talking about puppies, they might crack or start to get some little splintery edges off here. If that makes you nervous, stay away from this stuff. But for a small puppy, like again, an 8-pound, 9-pound mini doodle, something like this with a thicker wall would work really well for that puppy. Another common thing is antlers. I like the split antlers, and I want to make sure they're elk because there's less potential issues with any teeth chipping or breaking. They really enjoy these, and they like to work on the marrow, so an elk antler is great. Again, this size right here, the size of my palm, really good for a puppy the size of Prince. This is for a power chewer. This is an indestructible bone. This is for dogs that just really like to use their jaws. These things can be fantastic. A lot of dogs find them boring, but if you have a power chewer, these are really good. I use these for my Amstaff Brembo. Rawhide. I don't like rawhide, but this is beef cheek roll, which is totally digested differently. And this is a pretty decent size one. This is the size that's in Prince's crate with him. So this is almost the length of his body. It was in there for a few days and he wasn't touching it actually, and he just started showing some interest in it. But I like that he is not able to get a giant hunk of a smaller one and start to just eat it inappropriately. So the bigger the better on that one. If you have, again, a real aggressive chewer, this might not be the best option, but for a dainty dog, these can be great. Bully sticks have become this craze, And this is a small bully stick in here, and it's in one of the West Paw holders to help avoid any choking hazards. I can't stress enough, if you're gonna give your dog a bully stick, watch them. And when they get down to the end of one, if you're not using a holder, just take it away or get a much bigger one than a small. It will last longer. So bully sticks can be great, especially for puppies. I would just get a bigger one, and that would be my comments on bully sticks. Most all of us know the name Kong. They've been around a really long time, and I've been using this product since my first dog many, many years ago. The Kong stuffables are great. I like to stuff them and freeze them, especially for our teething puppies. If you do some yogurt or some peanut butter, just making sure that there's no not good ingredients in there. I don't know, I'm forgetting the name of the xylitol. I would rather use a natural peanut butter in this, or a yogurt, or even a really nice canned quality dog food, and stuff that and freeze it, because then the puppy has something to do in their crate. This thing is great. This is the Kong wobbler, and you unscrew it and you put kibble in it, and they can knock it around. It's kind of along the lines of a slow feeder, but it's interactive play because they are gonna be moving it around. We have several dogs here that absolutely love these things, and we put kibble in it to keep them busy. So 2 more products for chewing or soothing type activities for your puppy. So far, I've covered chew things, chew toys. Those are items that you want your puppy to chew on. And now I'm going to talk about one of my favorite things, toys. Toys are interactive with me. The puppy is not allowed to chew on and wreck toys because they're expensive. Some of my tug toys for my dogs are over $30, and I've had them for 6 or 7 years. They work really nice. So all of those toys are for when that puppy is playing with me, and when they want to chew on something is where all of the previous items come into play. So ball, I teach my puppies fetch. I think that there's nothing better than throwing a ball or throwing a toy for that puppy and they want to bring it back to me and not run away from me. I love these JW Mega Blast balls. I think they last really well. I want to talk about the size of these balls. So you have this one here, and then we're going to talk about these small balls like this. Again, I would only use this on a really small dog. There has been videos floating around on the internet, and I'm sure maybe some of you have seen it, where dogs are choking on tennis balls. They're getting lodged in their throat. So I wanna make sure whatever ball I'm using with my dog is big enough that it can't go down their throat when it's full of saliva. It would be super scary. I can't imagine that happening. And funny side story, I had a dog when I was really young that could swallow tennis balls whole. Learning moment, and I did finally learn, and he had super big tennis balls to play with. So think about the size of your dog in relation to the size of ball that you are using playing fetch with your puppy. So again, this one I wouldn't even use with Prince. It's a little too small for my liking. I would use something a little bit bigger than that. Pigs! You gotta keep that in there. Stuff like this I love because, again, these puppies, we're trying to hit in all their sensory modes, right? So you've got this ball that's like hard and rubbery, and you've got this hard, chewy stuff, and then they're looking for soft stuff because they like to put their mouth on soft stuff, especially when they're teething. Pigs like this, great. Puppies love that stuff. It makes a funny noise. Some might be a little bit afraid of it, but I want to use this as an opportunity with my puppy that it's not scary, it's fun. I love this pig. These noises, if you ever hear anybody in the toy aisle, it's me trying out all of the puppy toys. This pig's awesome. This is a tough toy. It's a tough made toy with extra heavy duty stitching. So this is for our really mouthy, bitey puppies. So if they're going to get it and bring it back to me and they're just super chompy on it, I love a toy like this. This one doesn't make any noise, I don't think, but it's stitched really well. Again, I wouldn't want to leave my puppy with this to chew and destroy. I'd want to be interactively playing with my puppy with something like this. A game of fetch and tug back and forth. Here's another one for our more princessy dogs. Different squeaker, so it's more fun. It's a different type of fun. This guy is great. He's got little ears that could be chewed off. He's got arms that could be chewed off. That's not what I'm teaching my puppy to do. I'm teaching my puppy to play with me with this toy and then not leave it out where he can take it around the corner when I'm not paying attention and de-stuff him and I have stuffing everywhere. The other thing for that is it is a potential veterinary expense and surgery I do not want to put my puppy through. I don't want my puppy to get a blockage because I've given him something like this. He's ingested a bunch of material and now he needs to go to the vet. So we're just smart about how we do it. There's appropriate chew toys and there's appropriate interactive play toys, and that's what these things are. These little things are great, but again, super small puppy. I would not give this to anything outside of a tiny, tiny toy breed, but it makes fun noises. So these are great. We like to play with these. Another one for a small dog, these little, it's a ball, but it's fuzzy. They have to bite this pretty hard to make it squeak. It doesn't squeak super easy, but I love stuff like this. And when I have toys like this for my puppies, I have like a toy basket in a closet. And when we're playing, I just pull out like 2 or 3 toys. And during that half-hour play session, I might switch out toys. I might not. It depends on how into the game they are, but I want them to keep interacting with me and I want to keep it fun. So having something different is good. One of the other ones I love, I've been using these forever, and I challenge this company. These are invincible squeakers that keep squeaking if punctured, kinda. One of our dogs, Sally, was a master at figuring out how to puncture all of these, and it didn't squeak anymore. So there are some dogs it's just not gonna work for. But I've had really good success with these. And again, it's a different squeak. So if they do puncture one enough that it doesn't work, you still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, there's 6 total. There's still 5 other ones. So this stays fun for quite a while. And again, he's got some pretty nice stitching on him. And puppies love to chase stuff like this. He's got enough length that I can run around and have the puppy chase him and wear him out, especially before bed. That's what we want. Another one, we got this guy over here. He's just cute, so I pulled him. Totally different. But again, I will play tug, I will play fetch. You just can't stick it in the back of your mouth and start to rip it or in the front of your teeth and pull on it. That's not what they're designed for. These are great. This one doesn't have any crinkles. He has a squeaker, and sometimes you can get these flat guys and they have crinkles. These guys, again, are great for, oh, he has 2. Head, tail, he has 2 squeakers. Okay, so again, great for tugging, fetching. I just like all of these things for different reasons because it feels different in the puppy's mouth, and I want to be fun when I'm playing with my dog. Last but not least are 2 of my favorite toys in the whole wide world. This is a small little company called Tug Away See You Win. I absolutely love their products. I think they do a great job, and this is a Mega Last ball. This is actually wound with real fur, so if you have a problem with that, that's okay, but dogs really like that. I don't know what this is. It feels like rabbit fur. They love playing tug with these, and if you use it the right way, they last forever. Again, I have some of these that are well over 6 years old. They look a little gnarly, but they're intact, and we play tug and fetch with these. For some dogs, especially that want to bite more and clamp, these buffalo bars are great. I think this is buffalo, but it's a bite bar. And notice it has a bungee. For those of us out there with power breeds or big breeds when they get older, this is really nice when we play tug, because without that bungee, when the dog tugs or thrashes, it can hurt. So the bungee is just a little bit of shock absorption, which I like for my puppies. So again, when I'm playing interactively, these are the toys I would use. I would rotate them out as necessary, and I always want to end the game when the dog is having fun with me, not when they're starting to fizzle out. Treats. I use treats almost every day with my puppies, and when I'm using treats, I want to be thoughtful about the ingredients in those treats, the frequency at what I'm giving them and the volume of what I'm giving them, and make adjustments in their food if necessary. Additionally, if my puppy is a chow hound and really likes food, I'll just use some of their kibble if they're kibble fed for treats. But if I'm a raw feeder, which some people are, then they usually put a little bit more thought into what they're feeding, because they have a precise protein they might be sticking to. So for example, Open Farm makes a freeze-dried raw. They're not the only only company that does, but these are great because it's food. It's not really a treat. This is not a bunch of fillers. It's good quality. These are great to carry in your pocket and use for training. So this is an option if you want a healthy style treat. My favorite treat is Bill Jack. I like these things because they're little and I'm a cheap treat giver. They don't need a big treat. I want them to be able to put it in their mouth, chew it once or twice and swallow it, or just swallow it. So I don't want anything big. I love having these in my pocket and using these for treats. I really like Bill Jack. Another very popular brand here is these Bully Bobbits. And I don't know if you can see that, but these are squares that are probably the size of a quarter, a little bit bigger. I'm not feeding that whole treat. So I'm going to tear pieces of that off and give little tiny tidbits. So one of these treats for me can easily turn into 10, right? So again, it'd be different if I was just throwing my puppy in the crate and he's done a good job going in his crate and I want to give him a treat. Yeah, I'd probably give him a whole one. But if we're doing a training activity, I'm going to give little tiny tidbits of treats. Another popular one is Finley's. These almost look like they're little pellets. And technically, I could break that up too. So you can feed the whole one if you want to, or you could break it in half. So those are good training treats because all 4 of those are softer. Then we're gonna have crunchy treats. For some dogs, this works, but the problem with a crunchy treat is when you're doing multiple treating, especially if the dog is moving, what's going to happen is that dog might choke. So I don't want the dog to be choking on their treats. This one is another really good one, and I love this one because they're good. If you've never had a bag of these and eaten one yourself, you're missing out because my kids love these. Lucy's organic oven-baked dog treats are phenomenal. There is cane sugar in them though, so this would be a treat that I would use very sparingly. So figure out what treat works best for your puppy and use that. But remember, bite size small, because when you're training, you're going to be doing it at a pretty clipped rate and you don't want to overfeed your puppy. When it comes to feeding our puppies, nutrition is a key role in development. And there's a lot of information out there. So I'm going to just cover the 3 areas: kibble, freeze-dried, raw, and then you can go down that rabbit hole and explore what works best for your puppy. If you're going to feed a kibble, I'm going to talk about a few brands that we carry here. So more of an entry-level type food would be a Nutrisource. The price point is good. People that are on a budget, they want to feed this, it is absolutely fine. Brands that I would stay away from are any brands that I can find in the grocery store. Those are just brands I'm simply not going to feed. You can learn a lot by looking at the ingredient list, right? So most of your puppy foods are going to be chicken-based. Just remember that if you run into any skin issues or digestive issues that aren't clearing up, because the protein source matters. Another one, and these are all local companies, is From. I want to talk about marketing. We are so good at marketing. And this food right here is not marked puppy. It is for all life stages, from puppies to adult. In my history of educating clients about feeding, they don't make a special chicken for babies compared to a chicken that we would eat as adults, right? And they've done a really good job of that. And sometimes the ingredients do matter, but really start to understand your labels on that, because puppy food, nutrition, and quality of ingredients, you might find an all life stages food that has better nutrition. So don't just go off of what it says on the bag. All right. Another really nice one and a tier up is the Acana. This is a puppy too. Again, it is chicken. So if you want to get away from a chicken, this From was a beef. And Farmina, one of my favorite foods, is lamb. All right. We're always watching dog food. It's always changing in this industry with recalls and buying companies. So this is just something to be aware of when you're feeding a kibble. Who owns it? Has it been sold? Has there been a recall? That sort of stuff. I'm not saying that to make you afraid. Just be educated in what you're feeding your puppy if you're gonna do kibble. The other thing with kibble is if I am doing kibble, I always make sure that I am adding a probiotic. And I do like to soften my kibble a bit, so I put some goat's milk or beef broth or even some water in there to make it more palatable. Remember, if you feed your puppy nothing but kibble, they will drink more water because it's dry. There's not as much moisture in a kibble as there would be a dehydrated or freeze-dried raw or a raw food. That's normal. Goat's milk is a great addition to our puppy's diet. I use goat's milk in the smaller containers because I'm not good at pre-planning. So I get a small one that I know I will use in 3 to 4 days before it goes bad. For other people that are better at planning, I would get something a little bit more cost effective, and I'd get the bigger jug. I would put this in ice cube trays, freeze it, stick all of those cubes in a freezer safe bag and pull out what I needed. Cost-wise, it just makes more sense. But goat's milk is a great one to add along with bone broths. There's a variety of bone broths in different flavors. Really good, a great way to soften up some food, add some flavor to your freeze-dried or just a flavor splash to your kibble. I have fed raw supplementally since the late 90s and then full-fledged raw in the 2000s. Over the last few years, I have went to a pre-made raw just because of sourcing, time. It just makes sense for me. So if you are doing your own raw food, kudos to you. Keep doing what works for you and your dog. I do believe adding raw to our kibble-fed dog's diet, even at a rate of 20%, has health impacts, positive ones. So if you're scared of it, pre-made, they've taken the guessing out for us. It's all in there. They're doing a really nice job. I personally feed Steve's, and I do that cost effectively because of the patties. So they thaw really well. The nuggets are even better if you're a really bad planner because they thaw super quick. So a couple of other ones that I really like Tucker's because they're individually packed. I use these when I travel. I think this brand does a really good job, and I do like to cycle through different brands because what dog wants to eat the same food the rest of their life? Mix it up, add stuff in. Don't keep your dog on the same food their entire life if they can handle diet changes. A dog with a good gut flora can handle that stuff. Another one that we like here that does well is the Raw Bistro. Again, it's these nice little hamburger patties. Stick them in the microwave in the dog's bowl, and here's why I say stick them in the microwave. I don't want you to microwave it to thaw it unless you're desperate. We have a naughty cat, so I have to thaw all of my food in an enclosed cabinet or oven or microwave because he's gonna mess it up. So if you don't have a pest like that at home, it can thaw safely on the counter. So raw is a great way to go, an absolute great way. You're gonna have less shedding, you're gonna have less poop, you're gonna have less stink. There are benefits to it. It can be great. But again, you have to do what works for you and you have to do what works for your puppy. Getting a new puppy can already be stressful. What I wanted to do today is talk about all the different supplies and considerations to make that life with your puppy fun and positive. So as they grow into an adult dog, you've just known that you've done the best you can. When you think of puppy supplies, you don't think about going to the cat area of a store. I'm going to talk about 2 cat products that I absolutely love for puppies. We have a tunnel very similar to this at our house, and we have had it for 4 years. Every puppy that comes to our house loves this thing, and it's crinkly. It's just, they love running through it. They love plopping themselves on top of it. They love grabbing it and pulling it around. It comes with this little mouse. The mouse is missing off of ours. They love playing in this. And it's actually really funny because our Bengal loves playing with the puppies in these tunnels. So these tunnels are phenomenal. If you have a puppy, I just can't tell you how much fun this tunnel is. One of the other things in the cat area that I love is these. We have had one of these for years, and it's finally on its last leg. The cardboard is missing now. But the puppies love trying to get that ball out. Once in a while they can get the ball out, so just be careful and watch them. But when the ball spins and they pounce on it, they kind of swish it around by themselves. I don't use the catnip that comes in there, but these things are hilarious with puppies. So you wouldn't think to look in the cat area. If you have a really small toy breed, the cat toys can work great, but I just had to mention these two because these will forever be used in my house with puppies. I don't use this one a ton because I don't want the dog to get neurotic about the little ball in it, but for a few minutes here and there, super, super fun toy to play with. So, tunnels and the little ball roller. Thanks for joining me today. I had so much fun talking about puppy supplies. One of my favorite things in the whole wide world is getting a puppy and then shopping and getting stuff for the puppy. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe, like, and remember to watch our other video on the first 24 hours with your puppy.